saw my last vlog when I was traveling around America, you'd see that I've had a pretty heavy time of it of late. So today I just wanted to play. I wanted to go back to being a child, get back to my nursery and have a little play with my rattle. And the thing I love playing with the most, given half the chance, is different kinds of distortion. So let's head back to the shed on the lav mic today because I'm in the middle of recording my piano for Piano Book, and I'm basically using the mic pre that I usually have the Shure coming into. Anyway, thought I'd have a look at distortions today. Now, I don't mean amp sims. I've got a couple of amp simulators and there's lots of stuff like that internally in Logic. I don't really like the way that they affect sounds other than maybe guitars, so I thought I'd just look at kind of pure distortion units. And that doesn't mean there's not going to be some guitar technology there. I'm going to use some of these pedals as well, this being a bit of a secret weapon, to be honest, and maybe even something that the Modular can offer up. But first, let's have a look at what I've got inside the box. I did a shout out on Twitter asking people's advice on what they think the best distortion is that's kind of universal. You can use in Cubase or Logic, this, that and the other. And I'm really pleased to say that the two most popular ones I've actually got already, but I didn't realize I had. So I'm basically gonna generate three signal sources, a drum beat, some guitars, and a sine wave, starting with Spitfire drums, which you can get for free down in Labs, linked below. Okay, I'm just going to do octaves of these. Sound Toys Decapitator, part of their amazing suite of effects. And the other one was Saturn by FabFilter. Interesting, not exactly what I was looking for. Saturn seems to have much more of a digital kind of profile, whereas the Sound Toys, for me, just feel slightly more believable as an organic saturation. They all have a very, like, bubbly quality to them, which is interesting. Reamping. Quite realistic sounding, just a slightly crunched amp. Let's have a look at the Saturn. I am just basically going with their presets, of course. See, that would sound quite interesting if we were to double that up and then just do my old pitch down, transpose up trick to give it a doubling kind of sound. And then quarter past. Sounds pretty good. Excellent. And then the sine waves. Sound Toys suited the percussion the best so far. Right, let's break out of the box and see what these three bad boys sound like. Right, so this is the Industrial Electric 4046. Oh, look at that. Oh, I like the sound of it already. Let's have a listen to the drums through it. that. Not sure how useful that's going to be. Let's have a listen to the sine waves going through it, see if they can make any sense of it. Let's sample that. Right, I actually think that stuff's really, really useful. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate the track, and I'm just going to change the settings on the pedal ever so slightly. Fucking awesome! Great, so that's some interesting sampley stuff to be getting on with. Which confuses me that the guitar amps is in that way. There'll be some historical reason for that. Oh, look at that blue light. Okay, so let's get the drums out again. If we take those drums and then pan them, just change the setting ever so slightly. Interesting. I wonder what a sine wave will sound like through this. Okay, and this time I'm just going to change the tuning slightly. And finally, the Mastodon by Zvex. A red light at last. Okay. Okay, let's try that stereo effect again. Now let's hear some guitars through it. Same panning technique, I'm just going to alter this shape a little bit. I also put some beats and a sine wave through the Culture Vulture. I'm going to do a kind of a slightly more in-depth look at the Culture Vulture along with my Fractal Audio and Kemper amp modulars at a later stage, but I'm just playing my rattles, my distortion rattles today. So what has this got to do with modular, you ask? Well, I was looking for some distortion solutions within my Frankensynth, and I found something very, very cool. I'll get back to that and those sampler instruments I've made out of these sine waves later. But first, Sandy.
Hi Christian, so I'm coming to you this week from my new apartment in New York. Thought I'd just jump straight into a little jam video, but I just wanted to prefix that. Just a little explanation of what's going on or the impetus for this jam. I've been talking about coming up with a performance system that uses both of the Electron boxes, the Analog Rhythm and the Analog 4, and integrating with the Modular. That's all coming together quite nicely, and I'm going to do a sort of rig rundown of that and explain the ins and outs of how things connect and how they sync up in a forthcoming video. But for now, I wanted to look just at the indeterminate stuff that's happening with the Modular. So that's sort of sequenced percussion and a couple of pedal notes from synths and some drony sort of chordal stuff coming out of the Mutable Instruments Plats. In essence, everything is clocked to Pamela's new workout at the moment. So the idea being that I can send a single clock from the Analog 4 into Pamela's new workout, and then have that as the kind of master clock divider and clock modulation source for everything. That's doing some delay sync and changing of the time parameter of the DIY delay from Erica synths. It's also clocking the BeastTech Amoeba. Besides that, I'm using the 2HP kick, snare, pluck, and play modules for various percussion and pedal notes. The Q-bit scanned is getting used for some percussion, for some pedal notes as well, and that's going to be you'll hear that goes from kind of rhythmic short pluck sounds into a kind of a big waving noise kind of synth sound at the end. I'm using the chord mode on the Mutable Instrument Plats just because it responds really nicely to both the timbre and the morph parameters, and eventually I'd like to develop a bit more of a sort of a B section to this. At the moment it's quite static harmonically. But anyway, I've spoken long enough. Let's jump straight into the video for now, and you can see what I'm talking about.
Absolutely amazing work, Sandy. Fantastic. So, back to the shed to have a look at this modular distortion unit. So I've learnt that Eurorack modules with deep backs don't go into skiffs. So this is just going to be temporary. I've got it going into my Franken-synth, and it's just going to be mono. So is it on? Yeah, it's on. So that should be interesting. Let's see what it sounds and looks like. Let's run some drums. It makes your signal into lightning. I'm sorry, we just have to do this. Insane, very lightning-y. No matter how much you turn it down, it's definitely still lightning. Same stereo trick. Just going to tweak a little psych, maybe a bit of voltage, treble up a bit, bass down. Well, thanks for spending a day off with me, playing in my nursery with my toys. They've come out really well, I think, actually. Let's have a listen to these cultured ones. And these are the drops from the heliotrope. And the actual heliotrope one. Industrial, which was that mad box. Mental. Haven't looped them, as you can hear. What I love about lightning is it just sounds exactly like what it is. And then finally the Mastodon. I like it. Okay, right, so what I've done is I actually took those beats. That was one set, and now, the temptation with something like that is to go, that's really fat. It's not, it's just really bassy, and no one's gonna thank you for a loop with that kind of bandwidth. But what I'm gonna do is combine the two. Problem with this loop, it's bit crushed to a point where it's lost its top end. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this, take advantage of the hi-hat there. Actually, you know, what you can do is actually chop these things out in audio. And then I've got this new trick, which is stereo delays, but instead of using either the normal, you know, quarter note or the triplet, I've started using dotted ones. So check this out. So that all goes together.